did great.
Sounds like you guys are playing a horror game.
Let's head to Unionville first, shall we? You see something approaching from up ahead. A monster, Melanie shouts, readying for battle. Mr. Flobby, get back here. It's dangerous out there, a young girl chides, taking the creature back to the village. It seems you've finally arrived at Unionville, a village where humans and monsters live together in peace. What a weird place, remarks Ridis lightheartedly. I like it. We aren't staying a moment longer than necessary, says an unsettled Melanie, her distaste for monsters plain on her face. Any travelers with magical little critters can... It appears the headman's long-standing pronouncement on the welcoming of all magical creatures also applies to you and your party.
Hmm?
Here to stay the night? The innkeeper asks, the moment
Ash
you
is pretty
set foot in
strong.
the
It's
inn.
just he's the only person that can heal. No, he does like a bit more now. Apparently the fairy dress gives +7 armor. I don't think it does. It is a dress. No, they can't. Oh. Where? Especially the really big puffy dresses. Yes. You're talking about the Bucky, right? It's for me. It's easy to remember. The left click is always the more normal attack, and of course for a shotgun that means close range.
The woman frowns deeply, claiming the cakes she bought for her beloved furball have all been eaten by someone else.
That's what she said on WhatsApp, at least. I believe.
A quiet furball sits with crumbs around its mouth. The child says his monster friend left the village suddenly to go back home. He claims the headman told him that he could go home when he grew up too. The little orc child pouts, but I don't know where my home is. You ask the old man if he knows anything about the dragon. No, sir, he answers. All I know is that it brings more trouble to this already troubled world. But our headman is a wise and worldly man. He might know something, he remarks, pointing at a house not far away. The little goblin sulks as he gazes upon the withering flowers he tried so desperately to take care of. He looks at you with tears in his eyes, silently begging you for help. You pour the salve onto the flowers, and they stand up tall. The goblin cries out in happiness and thanks you for your help.
My hair's getting too long.
He then holds something out to you.
That's true. It does grow back pretty quick.
The goblin stares lovingly at the beautiful flowers and gobbles them up.
Gonna dye it too. Oh.
Healthy flowers are the tastiest, he proclaims in glee.
And a
Did
little
he
even
grow
cuter.
those flowers just to eat them? A young boy wanders up to your group in wide-eyed wonder. You surmise his curiosity stems from the lack of travelers visiting the village. You realize you are right when he assails you with questions about your origins and adventures. The Inquisition leaves you exhausted.
This little boy loves climbing trees. See, this is the kind of twist. And then the second card, like this one, is a bit, sus. Not even gonna say it out loud, just gonna close this now. It's gone now.
However, does your mouth become so filthy, Mr. Flobby? Sighs the girl as she wipes the slime clean. Clearly embarrassed, Mr. Flobby murmurs, "That's not my mouth."
Mm-hmm. Yeah. His wife is dying, and he said like, finally I'll be free from this promise. It's like, damn.
The little orc child is engrossed in a fairy tale. The title reads, "The Legend of the Dragon." You take a peek into the picture book and come across a passage that piques your interest. To where, you wonder, then recall that this is merely a fairy tale. The village headman is a renowned gourmet, and rumor has it he only dines on the finest foods. The man says he wishes he too could have such a lavish meal just once in his life, his deep desire for delicacies only growing with time.
Okay, let's see what this average man's story is. I shall read it out to you, Crystal, so you know what kind of things these cards say. Not a day passed that he didn't wear his hair or arrange his clothes just the way she liked. She was the prettiest girl in the village, and one day he was sure she'd notice him. That was the first side. Before long, the village was full of men who dressed the same and wore their hair the exact same way. She ceased to be able to tell any of them apart. Wow. Okay. I guess not. That was actually quite mild.
Wow, a new friend, and so big, too, the furball exclaims in glee as it rushes over to Mar. Mar stares off into the distance as the furball snuggles up to his leg. For some reason, Ridis joins in on the cuddling. Lately, a suspicious man cloaked in black has been seen wandering about the village outskirts. The old woman looks at Melanie and remarks that he was dressed just like her. "Travelers," you hear a voice call from somewhere. "Down here, at thy feet." You look down to see a small clump of fur by your boots. The clump of fur speaks. "I am Lappy, and I should like to journey forth with thee." Lappy the furball looks at you with amiable expectations. "Of course, the more the merrier," you exclaim, pumping your fist energetically into the air. But Melanie coldly interjects, "No, I can't trust monsters." Thoroughly rejected by Melanie, Lappy bursts into tears. Lappy says he has no friends because of his aged face and speech. All alone, he decided to leave the village on a journey. Your party is silenced by the crying child with the face of a grown man. You tell Melanie to be nice and quip that both she and Lappy could use a friend. Exhausted from arguing with you, Melanie half-heartedly agrees. "Fine, we can be friends." However, she says that they are on a dangerous journey to defeat the dragon. As such, they cannot take a child with them. Lappy leaps up and hugs her in his excitement, exclaiming, "Thou hast made me so happy." "Till next time," Melanie says, peeling Lappy off of her and placing him on the ground. Though she thought all monsters to be evil, Melanie feels that the ones here are different. Finally, a friend.
Laffy's that small white furball monster.
You bow, but before you can speak, the man suddenly introduces himself as the village headman. He laughs, then shamelessly praises his own village as being wondrous and peaceful. "And who are you?" he asks. After explaining that you are on a quest to defeat the dragon, the headman invites you to rest your feet a bit in his village. He says that he had heard rumors of the dragon when he traveled the world. "You must be tired from your journey. Have a seat. I will have my chef prepare a feast," the headman says, then claps his hands twice to summon a stewardess.
It's 9:30.
Extravagant dishes that you have never seen before are placed on the
time
table
is
before you, each one looking more
9:30.
delicious than the last.
For today, Dad.
"You're drooling," Melanie scowls. you hadn't even noticed. You wipe your mouth with your sleeve, then gasp as you turn to Mar. Perhaps in an attempt to hold himself back, Mar is gnawing on the table corner. There, there. We'll eat soon, you reassure Mar while gently stroking his head.
Do it. What color did you say, sorry? Ooh, purple.
The doors fly open in the next instant, and a girl runs in.
Could go rainbow. Do it.
With tears in her eyes, she tells you that her dear companion, Mr. Flobby the Slime, is missing. The headman's eyes go wide in surprise. We must find that slime right away, he says anxiously. You are starving, but it doesn't look like you'll be able to partake of the feast before you because of Mr. Flobby's disappearance. We will find your slime.
We'll go find the missing
and then
slime.
We feast, you add quietly. Melanie reminds you that you are here to get clues about the dragon from the headman. What's the difference? Literally everything. Hunger taking its toll, you two begin to argue. Brave heroes, the headman interjects, then bows his head. Would you please find her slime? It appears the story has hit a standstill until you find the missing Mr. Flobby. You need to hear the whole story from the young girl. The girl sobs, wailing about the missing Mr. Flobby. Melanie places her hand atop the girl's head and promises that your party will find her companion.
What, Mom? Oh, Laffy. Oh no, not everyone has a pet Laffy.
The
No.
girl then hands something to Melanie. It looks like the muddy handkerchief she used to wipe Mr. Flobby. She asks Melanie to wipe Mr. Flobby with it after you find him. The girl claims to have searched the village but cannot find. Regardless, looking aimlessly outside the village would be a waste of time. You decide to collect more information in the village. Melanie's friend Lappy is here. Lappy cuddles up to Melanie. Despite her hatred of monsters, Melanie doesn't seem to mind. She says she saw a suspicious man in black with a slime outside the village not long ago.
Is there lots of Lappies? There's not lots of Lappies.
She claims they went northwest together. Did that man take Mr. Flobby? You resolve to leave the village in search of the pair.
Oh wait, yeah, you're right. There's at least two in town. Oh yeah, there's one over there as well. Alright, you're right, you're right. I don't want to put Ma back into my party, to be honest. I'm putting Ma back in. Screw these harpies. They're not distorted. You're a shiny crystal.
Though a torch is not strictly necessary, it would certainly help you find your way through the dimly lit shrine. Your footing is obscured in the dimness of the shrine. You should probably proceed with caution. Though you go forth slowly but steadily, taking it one step at a time. You take a good look at the floor and see it lined in trails of viscous liquid. No doubt a slime or 200 have passed through here. It looks like poor Mr. Flobby is being held captive by the Mystery Man. Hand over that slime, you shout to the man in the dark.
Wait, so the next... So, second or... ninth? Sorry, which one? Ninth. Okay, ninth. Sure. Sounds good. Good, good.
You speak as if I kidnapped him, he remarks, curtly turning to face you. When your eyes finally adjust to the surrounding darkness, you realize the man's clothes look eerily similar to Melanie's. Melanie's mouth falls open in surprise. It seems the man has noticed Melanie as well. It looks like the two know each other. The man says that he and Melanie came from the same village, where this was their native dress. The man's revelation makes you realize that you know almost nothing about Melanie's past. You ask Melanie about her hometown, but she holds her tongue. Then the man speaks. With forbidden magic, our clan has ensured the dragon, he begins, when Melanie cuts in.
I understand.
She rattles on about the man, telling you that he is Vince, a lunatic obsessed with the dragon. Vince resentfully claims that he is searching for the noble dragon to protect it. You ran away from home with your tail between your legs, he ridicules. Enraged, Melanie lunges at Vince. You have so many questions, but realize that the most pressing matter is getting Mr. Flobby back. So you ready for battle? Careful, he won't go down easy.
Oh. Ooh. Crap, I'm gonna lose. Is he too old for you, Serena?
Looks like your adventure ends here.
Old. Wow, game over. Cool. Kinda glad though, because up to that point I was easily killing everything. What do you mean? Ash. Oh. Finding. Mm-hmm.
A monster appears. Rather, you approach it. You may be able to aid it by administering some curative. You would help it if you could, but you have no curative on hand. Unable to do anything more, you keep walking.
It's okay.
Lying in the grass, you find an old telescope. You figure a look at the path ahead can't hurt, and pick it up.
Eventful.
Peering through the lens, you see something in the distance, but you can't tell exactly what. All you know is there's something up ahead. You should be able to tell for certain what it is if you get closer.
It's a goblin belly button.
Figuring it's best not to go looking for trouble, you decide to detour around it. Still, you can't help wondering what that thing was. Don't hold back. You journey onward, only to see a suspicious-looking elder appear before you, a bottle of medicine dangling from his waist.
Mm-hmm.
He proclaims himself a man of medicine who has discovered a revolutionary new curative. He would have one of your party drink it as a test. There's no harm in trying it, he boldly claims. Well? Only a fool would drink some stranger's filthy brew, you bark. The suspicious doctor grumbles mightily, making a fine show of his discontent as he takes his leave.
Okay, upgraded all my party's stuff.
It looks like poor Mr. Flobby is being held. And over that slide, it seems the man has noticed Melanie as well. The man says that he and Melanie came. The man's revelation makes you realize that you know almost. You ask Melanie about her hometown. With forbidden magic enraged, you have so many questions. But realize, careful.
Time for the rematch.
You won't go.
Does look pretty cool. He's got. I'm not a big fan of the eye patch though. Oh my god, I missed again. Why?
During the fight, Vince asks, "Do you know the truth about that village?" The headman may look like a nice old man, but he keeps those little monsters around too. He begins, but before he can finish, Winifred, Hedwin, and Berwin of the Ivory Order appear. The three brush you aside, fixing their attention on Vince. "So you are the one who disturbs the peace," they exclaim, then charge at him.
Yeah, go for it.
The Ivory Order and that false justice they serve are the true evil here, he retaliates, fighting back. Seeing the two parties occupied with each other, you realize this is your chance to grab Mr. Flobby.
Oh, I reached my limit of skills now, finally.
The headman says we must find that slime quickly, or else.
Oh my god, I didn't grab the slime. Ugh.
Perhaps wary of humans, Mr. Flobby dashes out when you draw near. Vince is on equal footing with the three from the Order. You realize then that he wasn't fighting in earnest against you earlier. Engrossed in their battle, the combatants pay you no mind. When you reach out to grab Mr. Flobby, he suddenly attacks. Lower Mr. Flobby's stamina to calm him down. Exhausted from the fight, the raging Mr. Flobby finally stops attacking. But it seems he hasn't yet come to his senses. He glares warily at your party. Find something to help return Mr. Flobby to normal. You wipe Mr. Flobby's mouth with the handkerchief you received from the girl. Then you hear a quiet voice speak. "That's not my mouth," Mr. Flobby murmurs bashfully. It looks like the girl's familiar scent on the handkerchief returned him to normal. Having regained his senses, Mr. Flobby heads back to the village. You place the increasingly sticky handkerchief in your bag. Lappy approaches and tells you that Mr. Flobby has returned. The girl is ecstatic that Mr. Flobby is finally back home. "I'm happy for you," Melanie says with a smile as she returns the handkerchief. The girl bows her head and thanks you deeply. Mr. Flobby looks as slimy as ever. You just hope it's a happy slime. The headman wants us to bring Mr. Flobby to him. Would you mind, you ask? Of course not. But bring him back soon, she answers with a bright smile.
It's everyone's favourite friendly villager slime, Mr. Flobby. You can find him playing house or racing against a girl in the village, his bestest friend forever. Mr. Flobby comes from a real big family. There's his sister Plobby, his brother Plebby, and his nephew Booby. Sadly, none of them are with us any longer. Damn. Because we killed them all. Probably.
I am so happy to see you safe and sound, the headman exclaims, giving Mr. Flobby a hug. You explain everything that happened, including the incident with Vince and the Ivory Order. He expresses his relief that the Order will be taking care of the criminal. He then thanks you for your hard work and instructs his stewardess to prepare dinner for your party.
Does he cook monsters? I feel like he cooks monsters.
You can feel your collective mouths watering at the sight of the lavish meal before you. You, Mar, and Ridis immediately dig in. You aren't sure where you find a moment to breathe among all the feasting. Please, eat to your heart's content, the headman insists with a smile. Once your belly is full, you realize that Mr. Flobby is gone. And then...
Oh no, did we just eat Mr. Flobby?
Room for dessert? The headman asks, offering you a plate of slimy jelly. You feel your stomach churning at the very sight of it.
Oh no.
The color strikes you as familiar, and the stickiness sends a shiver down your spine.
Uh-oh. Do you know how we saved Mr. Flobby, the slime that was the girl's friend? Wow, we just... The head of the tower just cooked it seems.
Is this Mr. Flobby? You ask
The
the
girl
headman,
had...
your voice trembling in disbelief.
was the friend of Mr. Flobby, the slime. Just a random village girl.
The headman looks at you with a plain expression, one that holds no malice. Is that a problem? He questions back. This dish is a masterpiece, he remarks with a light-hearted chuckle as he gazes at the jelly. And I have you brave heroes to thank for it. Had you not brought that slime back, we would not be able to enjoy this exquisite dessert.
Wow.
You move to leave, but the headman stops you. I try to get my meat while it's still young and tender, but at least your pet is very plump, he remarks, licking his lips. He points at Mar and asks, would you consider leaving that creature here with me?
Wow. More ain't for sale.
Never, you refuse flatly, not bothering to hide your discomfort. Think about it, he entreats, and then you grab the headman by his lapels, hands trembling in fury.
Yeah, let's kill the headman. The headman of the village. Winning a battle doesn't necessarily mean we kill him.
Pummel the headman with all your might.
See, we just pummeled him.
Curled up on the ground, the headman groans in pain, but insists that monsters were meant to be eaten. You hug Mar tightly, reassuring him that you will not hand him over to anyone. Mar looks at you with his round eyes and mews softly. You meet eyes with the rest of your party and reach a tacit agreement.
Aww.
Together, you all stand and leave. His consciousness fading, the headman asks, "What did I do?" As you are about to leave the headman's house, though, the old man suddenly charges at you from behind. But Mar, the keener of you two, is quick to block his path. With a crash, Mar and the headman tumble to the ground. From the headman's hand falls a small blade. It clatters to the ground, covered in blood. You take the injured Mar to an inn where you can watch over him.
What a bastard. He
You
stabbed
gaze
Mar.
at the unconscious Mar with concern. Despite the shallow wound, no amount of medicine seems to rouse Mar from the bed. I heard that my friends were in danger, so I came as quickly as I could, Lappy says. As he reaches Mar's bedside, he leans over and licks his wound. "This is what you call it extract," he shouts. He explains that it is a poison extracted from a certain monster. If it enters the body, it drastically reduces one's stamina. Hearing those words, you realize the headman's blade must have been coated in this poison. Mar's condition starts to make sense. "Isn't there anything we can do?" Melanie asks. Lappy's eyes widen in realization before he places his mouth over Mar's wound and begins sucking. He then puts the what-you-call-it extract into a bottle and hands it to you. Lappy says that if you follow the road south of the village, you will reach Shoreland. He tells you to give the extract to the famous nutritionist there. Realizing that you are at fault for this, you don't hesitate to undertake the quest. But this is strange. The extract comes from a monster, so it should have no effect on one, Lappy remarks with a curious tilt of his head.
Uh-oh. The plot thickens. So Ma's not a monster. Gotta rely on Ridis now. Ew. Traveling gourmand in his younger days, the headman has long been fond of monsters. So much so, he founded Unionville, where humans and monsters coexist. Looks don't tell the whole story. Even the most inedible looking things can harbor incredible flavors. The headman explains, his table filled with dishes never before seen. Damn. Are we gonna have to explain to the village girl that her friend is now dead?
I thought a beast of that size would eat us out of house and home, she remarks, no doubt talking about Mar. The girl sighs. You're dirty again, she says, wiping a slime's mouth. Mr. Flobby, you're alive, you exclaim in glee. This is Mr. Globby, Mr. Flobby's cousin, she tells you. The girl sighs. You're dirty again, she says, wiping Mr. Flobby's cousin, Mr. Globby.
I think she's gone a bit crazy. Sounds like she's got a bit crazy. She probably knows about it. Chapter 4, Shortland.
You come across two men sitting on a rock. They take no notice of you or the party, but you can hear their fervent discussion. You listen in and deduce that they are a pair of thieves. You lean in, trying to hear what else the thieves are talking about. You catch pieces of the conversation here and there. Listen about that loot. Head south from the harbor and cross the mountains. It sounds like they've just told you where to find their stolen loot. You hastily grab a scrap of paper, write down what you've heard, and quietly sneak away. The harbor is closed today. Anyone seeking shoreland should move 3 spaces to the southeast. Look, you two, it's the sea, Ridis exclaims, frolicking in glee. You, on the other hand, trudge along as far as you can from the coast, ignoring the hair sticking to your forehead. Feeling something at your feet, you glance down. There's something underneath your boot. It appears you've stepped on a monster's cape, making it very upset. It attacks you in fury.
A monster? I don't think that's a monster. A lot of games. BRB. Hello. Did you go into an unrated, Crystal? Oh, wow.
You hear a roar in the distance. According to the townsfolk, it is a very recent phenomenon. Rumor in the village has it that it might be the dragon. You set foot inside the inn only to be greeted with the great clanging of a bell. Congratulations, the innkeeper shouts above the joyous din. It would appear you and your companions are this inn's 10,000th customers. That means you've won the lifetime of free stays pass.
How lucky. Oh, what's the score?
The man says the fishing industry is usually thriving in their seaside town, but recently nets have been coming up empty. He mentions that even the fishing harbor to the northwest has been suffering from poor hauls of late.
Muscle Man's story unlocked. Let's see. Traumatized by the bullying he received as a child, he vowed he'd never let anyone get the better of him again. His pain was the springboard for the body now before you. That's why he's so muscly. Elsewhere, another boy masked his own body issues by teasing another. Fearing retribution, he too bulked up. Thus did the world gain two absolutely ripped men. Yeah, that's alright. That's alright. Perhaps a bit too revealing. Blacksmith story. Yeah, and all the stories. Hello there, striking out on your own, are you? Oh, I've been at this long enough to size people up at a glance. Don't worry, I'll make you exactly what you need. You saw him, right? Real scrawny looking? You'll have no problem taking his money, and I'll have no problem staying in business. It's a win-win. But they were gonna rob us.
The sign on the door reads, "The Great Nutritionist Oreo." You open the door without knocking. "Is anyone home?" you call. A muscular man emerges from the back. You politely ask if he is the nutritionist. "Indeed, I am the nutritionist Oreo," he answers. He says he has been studying dietetics here for many years. You hand Oreo the extract and explain that your comrade is now bedridden because of it. He stares at the extract for a long time, and then opens the bottle and laps at the liquid inside. "That's poison!" Melanie shouts in alarm. The man insists that he'll be fine with his expertise of nutrition, and insists that knowledge is power, as if that will help somehow. Regardless, it seems he managed to grasp the composition of the poison with that lick, and starts concocting a nutritional supplement to counter it. However, he says he needs a spry fish, which has been difficult to catch lately. He needs a special fish to make the necessary supplement. When he explains that you can catch one in the surrounding sea, Riddis confidently interjects. She shows you a page from her ancient tome, which explains the ecology of the fish in detail. "That book comes in handy from time to time," Melanie remarks in surprise. Oreo gasps as if remembering something. He says that his son went out fishing and, with a bit of luck, may have already caught a spry fish. It sounds like his son is fishing on the wharf. You decide to go find him.
Welcome back, John. Pretty good, pretty good. It's more of a JRPG than a card game, though. Which guy? He's just buff.
A troubled woman tells you that there has been a rise in thefts lately. She speculates the recession to be the cause. She claims that even the cold medicine she always has on hand has disappeared. She narrows her eyes at the crowd, suspecting there is a thief among them, and offers a reward for the return of the medicine. Your ears perk up at the word reward, and you immediately agree to help expose the dirty thief. I can feel the dragon's presence. I must inform Lady Winifred, the knight mutters. You feel impatient. determined not to let the order beat you to it. You see a young man with his line in the water and call out to him. He turns around and flexes, shouting out suddenly, "Power is power." You stare, enchanted by his bulging musculature. There is no doubt in your mind that this is Oreo's son. He asks if you have business with him. Though you are pretty sure of the answer, you ask the young man if he is the nutritionist's son. "That I am," he answers. He introduces himself as Bruno and says he is learning to be a nutritionist like his father. You introduce yourself, expressing to him that you are a hero on a journey and require a spry fish to save your ill comrade. His eyes begin to sparkle the moment you utter the word hero, and he becomes engrossed in your tale. More or less grasping the situation, he regrets to inform you that he has not caught any spry fish yet.
Yet another muscle man.
He says that a monster has settled near their town, and its thundering roars have scared most of the fish away.
You can really tell the creative director is Yoko Taro, though. The Nier games, and the Nier games tend to have some pretty dark storylines, and the same is here.
You know Oreo needs a spry fish to make that supplement. Hearing the despair in your voice, Bruno speaks, his words like an ember in the dark. He tells you that there is a harbor near town where fishermen gather. Perhaps you can find the fish you seek there. You thank him for the information, then head to the harbor with your comrades. Just as you are about to leave, Bruno offers to escort you there. Is it a reward you're after? You are about to ask, but Melanie smacks you on the head before you can voice it and allows him to come along.
Bruno has joined your party. Bottom right guy. Oh yeah.
You approach a woman sneaking around in a corner of town. Hearing your voice, she turns in surprise. You see a vial of cold medicine clutched in her hands. You explain that the person she stole it from needs it back. The woman begins to explain her own situation with downcast eyes. "My poor little boy is bedridden," she says tearfully. "He needs medicine, but I don't have any money, so I took it." Hearing her tale, you are overcome by sympathy, and she thanks you and hands you something, apologizing for not having more. Medicine in hand, the woman leaves quickly. Now then, what to tell the other lady? You explain that you are unable to find the thief. Clearly saddened by the news, she explains that she keeps the medicine on hand for her husband, who gets sick quite easily. She laments that she may not have the money to buy more. Unsure if you made the right choice, you return to your journey with a heavy heart.
Wonder what this new character can do.
Bruno looks ecstatic that he was allowed to join your party. When you ask him why, he tells you that his dream is to be an adventurer and has thus been training every day. But his father, famed in the world of nutrition, forced him into following in his footsteps. One desires strength, the other knowledge. Unable to see eye to eye, the two fight nearly every day. What will you ask Bruno? Curious about his attire, you ask why he does not wear armor. He confessed that he once wished for armor, but deemed it unnecessary after gaining so much muscle. You ask Bruno about his sword arm, saying you are something of a swordsman yourself. Bruno replies that he specializes in hand-to-hand combat, then flexes his bulging biceps as proof. Apparently, he only carries around a sword to look like an adventurer. In that moment, you realize something. While his passion for being an adventurer is true, he is dumber than a sack of rocks. The words "birds of a feather flock together" run through your mind, but you quickly chase them away, afraid of what that means for you. He has been fishing for several days, having decided not to return home empty-handed. He hopes his wife and child back in Shoreland are well. The woman says she has been waiting here for days, worried about her husband, who has yet to return.
day begins early for this aspiring adventurer. Each and every day he rises with the sun and gulps down a helping of custom supplement made by his father. Muscle Maiden. I want to be cute and stylish, sure, but I really want to live happily ever after. Visions of a ring with a big old diamond on it dance in my dreams. But nobody gave me that ring, so you know what I did? Well, just look at these muscles. Aren't they cute? And they shine brighter than any diamond.
Lately, a monstrous roar has been disturbing the seas and scaring away all the fish. He sighs, lamenting that his catches have been poor as a result. A rough-tempered piscator stands there, having just returned from fishing.
What's a piscator? Piscator. A fisherman, an angler. Okay.
Mars' fate rests upon this man's haul. Terrible, he says, showing you the few fish he's caught. Inside you see
Spry
a
fish.
spry fish, Bruno shouts. You ask him if you can have the spry fish, but he says he won't give it up for free. When you ask how much it will cost, he gives the absurd price of 1 million gold pieces. You're heartless, Ridus pouts. The man is enraged by the rude response. Just then, Bruno prances forth and shouts, "Stop right there! Your fisherman muscles are simply sublime," he exclaims.
Sublime muscles.
He challenges the man to a competition of muscles with the spry fish as the prize. The piscator seems interested and agrees on one condition. If you lose, you must become my servant. This one's all yours, Melanie says, patting you on the shoulder. Then let the carnival of might and muscles begin, Bruno roars, completely fired up. Your puny body is no match for mine, the piscator shouts back, throwing a punch.
Masaru.
A battle of beefiness.
Ow.
Looking ripped. You're doing great.
Bruno, the nutritionist's son. He joined the party. Oh, this is just a
His
competition
victory
between
sealed,
the
Bruno
beefy
strikes a glorious
fisherman.
pose and shouts out. Witness the power of power. Defeated, the piscator hands over the spry fish to Bruno. Bruno extends a hand to the piscator, who has fallen to his knees. With a serene smile, he takes the offered hand. An unspoken friendship begins to form between the two. Or at least, you hope that's what the prolonged silence between them means. With the spry fish in hand, you head back towards Oreo's clinic. Bruno looks at your group sadly, reluctant for this little adventure to end. You hand the fish to Oreo and ask him to make you the supplement. "Give me a moment," he says, then takes the fish and heads into the back. "It's ready," he says, emerging from his room and handing you a bottle.
Mm-hmm.
You hope this will get Mar back on his feet. You need to get back to Unionville on the double. But before that... You face Bruno and say, "Take care," then run off. But Bruno stops you and says he wants to journey with you just a little longer. But Oreo is quick to douse the flames of his desire. "You will stay here and study," he commands. "Then you leave me no choice." Bruno's expression reads as he raises both hands behind his head and squats at hyper speed. "I want to show this power to the world," Bruno proclaims to his father. "You have much to learn, my son," Oreo retorts as he starts sidestepping at breakneck speed. Only the sound of their labored breathing and bodies moving resonates through the otherwise silent room. You can only look on in stunned silence at the enigmatic display. Bruno falls to his knees, panting. "This is my limit." "You have grown, my son," Oreo says, looking no worse for wear. "So are you coming with us or not?" Melanie interjects, ever the blunt one. "Only our muscles know the answer," comes Bruno's cryptic reply. "I don't get it," Ridis remarks frankly. On the condition that he study nutrition upon his return, Bruno is allowed to go with you for just a little while longer. You realize that these two have a very special way of talking that no one else can understand.
Wow.
Hearing yet another roar in the distance, you realize you need to get the supplement to Mar so you can investigate the sound together.
I'm coming, Ma.
can't go in there. That's the ocean. Mar lies listlessly upon the bed, looking somewhat haggard. You help Mar sit up. Drink this, Mar, you say to him gently. He weakly opens his mouth, and you slowly pour the energy concentrate inside. Mar abruptly bolts up and turns his head toward you with a puzzled look. It looks like Mar is all better now.
Flaxen.
You give Mar a tight hug. Mar mewls softly in discomfort. Overcome with joy, you sob and stroke Mar's head. Melanie and Riddis watch you two with a smile. Bruno is deeply moved to see nutrition bringing a smile to others. With this, you can finally put the happenings of that strange village behind you. You decide to take Bruno back to Shoreland, then continue your search for the dragon. You arrive at Bruno's house. Though he seems to want to adventure a little more, he reluctantly enters his house. You ask Oreo if he knows anything about the monster behind that mighty roar. He says that the creature nests atop a tower not far from town. With that, your next destination is decided. Here, you will part ways with these two, but you owe a great deal to the nutritionist and his son. Bruno looks at you, his eyes begging you to let him come along. What will you say? You know he would make a good ally, but you do not want to split the reward. Will you let him come if he doesn't ask for a share of the reward? Melanie asks, seeing straight through your sleazy thoughts. You nod. Yes, of course. What a quick change of heart. Bruno is happy he can continue the journey, but Oreo stops him before he can get carried away. You must stay here and study, Oreo says. Bruno explains that the journey thus far has taught him the splendor of nutrition, and he now wishes to travel the world to deepen his knowledge. After hearing his son out, Oreo suddenly removes his glasses. And in the blink of an eye, the flesh of Bruno's cheeks, pectorals, and abdomen recess. And Bruno is lifted off his feet with a dull roar. Your eyes go wide at Oreo's assault, which was too fast for your eyes to catch. Knowledge of nutrition can help save lives, but also strike down enemies, Oreo says softly. Wow, nutrition is incredible, Ridis marvels, not putting too much thought into the events before her. Knowledge is the true power. You tremble, never wanting to make an enemy of Oreo. Though Oreo still deems his son's knowledge insufficient, he tells him to travel the world and surpass him someday. Thank you, Father, Bruno says from the ground, moved to tears by the strength of Oreo's knowledge. So it comes to pass that you journey to the tower with Bruno to find the roaring beast. Yet another colorful character.
With his 3D headphone, videos, väldigt video quenchade inos, to hade moen, dissonihen, 3D hove, lesenan, jerifon venius, io quentalio, dio ventonies, lesetan.
Okay, good time to take a break. Oh, we can read Oreo's story. Oreo develops various supplements at his nutrition clinic in Shoreland, a few of which he even gave to the royal family in lieu of tax once, or so he claims. He'll tell you men keep nutritional secrets to avoid disclosing his formula. But he'll note it's nothing like the Ivory Order's medicine. Rumor is though that boogers are involved. Oh, let's take a break. Oh, bye bye.